he's already got a death wish. Just make it happen sooner.
So what's this?
Caudate nucleus.
Yeah, the head of the caudate nucleus. What's that?
The putamen.
Yeah, the putamen.
That's a tumor.
Not the tumor.
This was a cerebrovascular accident. There was a mass of blood sitting in this depression that has been lost. So this was filled with a mass of blood. There was a vascular blowout right over there, right in the putamen.
Is that how he died?
Probably not. But this sort of thing, I actually have to talk about this on Thursday. I will give out a handout on this as well. You should know the functions of the basal nuclei. There's a little bit of that in the neurophysiology handout. I'm going to expand that a little bit. And conditions which go with dystrophies in the basal nuclei. So we'll go over that on Thursday. Okay. And one of these happens to involve diffuse lesions in the corpus striatum, which means lots of little vascular blowouts. And that's associated with the particular chorea called Huntington's chorea.
Korea?
Yeah. Not as an I shall go to Korea, which Eisenhower said, in his election campaign to indicate what he would do if elected to deal with the Korean situation when the Korean War was going on at the time. But CHOREA, which is it's a disruption of a particular pattern of disruption of automatisms. And then there's some lesser known choreas called Sydenham's chorea, for instance, and some others.
I've heard of Huntington's.
Yeah, the most common one is Huntington's chorea, and I'll describe that. So you should know what causes that, and then what the pattern of symptoms happens to be, which I'll mention on Thursday.
Need to know after the midterm?
Yeah. So some of those will be part B's on the midterm.
Okay, and the midterm is the test that
31st.
a week from Thursday.
That's right.
Okay.
It's all the old wet stuff, right?
Yes, all wet stuff plus the ventricular endocast.
That one model, right?
Oh, okay.
Well, it's not a model though. It's a clone of an actual endocast. So they made an actual endocast, of which the brain was the mold. Then they took that and made a mold from it.
So that mold is all the holes in the brain.
Then they could now fill the mold repeatedly, and make clones of their original endocast. So that's how they reproduce it to sell to schools. Okay, so now with this one, you can also see...
Putamen.
Yeah. So how does this one relate to the previous one?
It's a little bit more there.
Therefore what?
More
Yeah,
posterior.
more posterior. Yeah, so what says more posterior again?
It's bigger.
Yeah, you see more putamen. It gets bigger as you go backward. Initially there's... Yeah.
The rostrum's smaller.
Yeah, the rostrum is definitely smaller as well.
Yes.
Now, and I will do things like that also, rather than showing just the two sides of one slice. I may show two slices and say, what is this one in relation to that one? So for coronals, you have to be able to say more anterior or more posterior. And for horizontals, you have to be able to say more superior or more inferior. And then how you know. And then what says that this is more posterior is that you see more putamen. You see less putamen in the previous one and more putamen in this one.
Yes.
So,
So an incorrect answer would be cousins. What is their relation? Cousins. Cousins.
Yeah,
That's not good.
A lot of flappies on that one.
And this one over here is like way.
all right, so now
Oh, it's more like the skin.
let's go back to the other side for a moment and just stare at the other side for a moment and then look at this side. And then I'll ask a question. Okay, so now, take a look at this side. You see it well enough with the lid on, I should take the lid off.
The lid's a little bubbly.
Just don't turn it over.
I'll have to put the lid back on and turn it over. Then I'm going to leave the lid on for the other side, though. Okay, so now, take a look at this and just fix that image in your neurological database. Yeah, that's right. And then now I will flip it.
Check out the flip side.
Check out the
Okay.
flip side.
Now, in fact, I will take this off.
Nasty little, evenly stitched bird.
Okay, so what is the relationship of this side to the other side?
That is more superior.
This
Well, that
side
wouldn't
is
fit
more
to this one.
posterior.
These are
The
coronal.
anterior or posterior.
Okay, that's more anterior.
Posterior.
This is more posterior. Now, what says that this is more posterior?
Cellular bridges.
The whole thing over here.
Well, on
It's like
the,
gone almost.
The rostrum's almost gone.
yeah,
The
now,
nucleus,
on the flip side,
think of a tame.
look, that's right. Now, here's the most
Are we
obvious
getting
thing.
globus pallidus? What is the thing? The globus pallidus?
Not quite yet.
Yeah.
The next one back will show a little bit of it, then you'll see more as we go even further back. And on this side, just look at this head of the caudate and this putamen. You look at the size of the head of the caudate here, and look at the size of the putamen.
Taman's
One's
huge.
getting smaller, the other's getting bigger.
And then now let's look at the other side. And then look at this. You see, on this side, you see a lot of head of caudate and a little putamen.
Right.
See that?
So this is anterior, this is posterior.
That's right. On the flip side, you see a lot of putamen and not very much head of the caudate. Now, if I had been able to slice this thinner, which I couldn't in this brain because it started to crumble when I tried that.
How does something wet crumble? I don't like that word.
We
but go ahead.
we would be able to see a more gradual transition, from a lot of head of caudate and a little putamen to all of a sudden the reverse. But this is the best I could do on this one. So there's a big jump from this side where you see a lot of head of caudate and a little putamen, a little bit of putamen.
Putamen.
Yeah, to the other side where you see the reverse. You see that?
Mama said that.
You see a lot of putamen and a little bit of head of caudate. You see it's reversed. Also, as we go backward, you see an increase in volume in the anterior limb of the internal capsule. See, there's the anterior limb of the internal capsule. Now, if I ask the anterior limb of the internal capsule, the probability that I'll do that, of course, is 100%. Now, this is one of the things I may ask more than once because the limbs of the internal capsule look somewhat different in the horizontal sections and the coronal sections. So now, what says that this is the anterior limb of the internal capsule, rather than the posterior limb, for instance?
Say that again?
What says that this is the anterior limb, rather than the posterior limb of the internal capsule?
Because we're in the anterior end of the brain still.
Because it's bordered by the head of the caudate, or the caudate, in this case the head of the caudate, and a part of the lentiform nucleus, the putamen. It's bordered by the head of the caudate, and in this case just the putamen, whereas what borders the posterior limb of the internal capsule? The thalamus. So in the anterior limb is bordered by the caudate medially, especially head of the caudate, and all or part of the lentiform laterally, whereas the posterior limb is bordered by the thalamus medially and the lentiform laterally. So if you see thalamus medially and lentiform laterally, it's the posterior limb of the internal capsule. We'll see that. If you see caudate medially and the putamen or the whole lentiform laterally, then it's the anterior limb. It's hard to pick up on the genuine coronal sections. It frequently falls in between sectional levels. You need a horizontal to see all three parts. They're all laid out in sequence on a horizontal. But in a coronal, you can only see one limb or the other, but not both at the same time. Okay? So what's that? That's that CVA. See, this is
Yes,
really
that's
a
the
big one because
bottom end of
it
the blood
extended
clot.
through all of that much of the brain tissue. That was a large CVA. Okay.
Dripping.
Thank you. And then, now it doesn't show right now. I think they may have fallen out. Can you see a little black flecks? I don't see them anymore. I think that the little black masses of blood fell out, like pepper,
Black pepper?
That means diffuse lesions in the corpus striatum, and multiple lesions. There was a big one and some little scattered small ones as well. That goes with Huntington's chorea. Diffuse lesions like diffuse CVAs in the corpus striatum. And then there's a genetic predisposition to this. It tends to run in families. There's an increased chance that people in certain countries are going to have blowouts. So what's the name of a singer who was once a famous singer, who's now deceased, who
Michael Jackson?
had Huntington's chorea?
He's still alive.
He wrote This
Kenny
Land
G.
Is Your Land. This Land Is My Land.
Wait a sec. That's not.
Come on,
That's
Bert.
not.
His first name began with a W,
No, that's not him.
and his
William.
second name with a G.
William.
Woody Guthrie.
It's a Woody.
I was thinking of.
Arlo Guthrie.
Who were those three?
So
with him?
Arlo Guthrie, who was the son of Woody Guthrie, died of complications associated with Huntington's chorea. And so Arlo Guthrie had to go through an extended part of his life knowing that he had a 0.5 chance of following his father into that condition. Once you get past a certain age, though, the chance diminishes. And he's never.
There's tests for it, though.
Yeah.
Well,
But
not just
not
gonna test
then, though.
Not back then.
Not then. Not
Talking
then.
about dinosaur days.
Yes.
Well, Woody Guthrie was well known
Name
in
like
the
that.
20s and 30s, as a singer.
Did you ever date a Woody, Bert?
No. I mean, not written on his birth certificate.
He wrote, if you've seen the Grapes of Wrath, Henry Fonda playing Tom Jones, Woody Guthrie wrote the music for the film, and also it's him singing.
Can you sing it?
Exactly.
Oh, come on, no, come on.
Sing it all together.
Okay,
The magic dragon
he didn't write that.
by the sea.
The other song you were just singing.
We're in the Grapes of Wrath.
We're in the Grapes of
You
Wrath.
sang a little bit.
All right, back to the brain.
Yeah, so we're going to stick with the brain right now.
You're having fun, I could tell. You like this class.
You smile a
Well,
lot in this
it's
class.
important for people to pay attention, though.
We're paying attention.
Okay, so
My name is
now,
Woody.
That's John Denver.
our next one
Sunshine
happens to be,
on my shoulder. Right here, boss.
no,
You got
That
two
one.
lids right there.
this one.
Oh.
Now,
You got 12 minutes, or should I start a new one? Should I start it? It's 12 minutes.
Yeah,